This is LP Giobbi.
Listen up, children.
You are listening to Femme House Radio.
I said listen up, children.
On Diplo's Revolution, Sirius XM.
A wonderful night is made as much by the dancers as the music. Guided as much by the spirit of joy in the room as by the hand which reaches for the next record. Each of us has a role in tonight's experience. We all play in the band.
This is LP Giobbi, and I founded Femme House, a 501c3 foundation and educational platform that teaches the technical areas of music making for women, non-binary, trans, and other marginalized gender identities. Every week, I will be interviewing and spotlighting women in music while bringing you the best dance tunes from around the world.
Our next guest on Femme House Radio is DJ, artist, singer, songwriter, and producer DJ Rae. She has performed alongside the likes of MK, Todd Terry, David Penn, Louis Vega, and Carrie Chandler. She has played worldwide tours with Defected in the House, Pasha, Strictly Rhythm, Armada, and Ministry of Sound, where she includes her remarkable vocals in her DJ sets. She has received support from Pete Tong, Danny Howard, The Blessed Madonna, and Giles Peterson. She has released on Defected, Tool Room, Ferris Wheel, Ultra, and Club Sweat, and has written hits for Galantis and Camden Cox, to name a few. Damn, girl, you have done a ton. Welcome to Femme House Radio.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. What a nice intro that was.
Very impressed. So, you're in London right now. So you performed at Glastonbury with Hacienda Classical. What the fuck was that like?
Oh, well, I guess you know, Glastonbury is like, if you said to any artist in the UK, I imagine, what's your dream gig? I'd be like, Glastonbury.
I've never been. It looks magical.
Yeah, you know what? I never actually got to go to like party. So for me, this was an amazing opportunity. When it came up, I was like, that's ticked a box I didn't even know I wanted ticking, but now it's here. I'm like, hell yeah. So we were all just mad, full of adrenaline on the day. You know, you're walking around the site, even sort of just going into the entrance. It's like you can feel the energy there. And yeah, like I honestly, it was one of those that you'll probably know, like the best gigs, they're gone in a heartbeat, and you're like, what just happened to me? Like, I wanted it to last a bit longer, like
totally.
But it was unreal. Like there was definitely some energy on that stage and on those grounds. I kind of just like tried to absorb a bit of it before we went, because we shot straight off to another gig, you know, so we didn't get to kind of stick around.
So tell me about Hacienda Classical. What is that?
So it basically,
I mean, I've heard of it, I know of it, like kind of, but it's
what's it about? So the Hacienda was one of the clubs that was responsible for bringing house music to the people over here. Started out in the 80s, and it's a real heritage. Obviously the club is no more, but the vibe and the kind of the legacy that it's left has lived on. And they started Hacienda Classical, I think it must be about 6 years ago. I've been with them for about 4 or 5 years now. And the whole thing was to take it on the road with a full orchestra and to reinterpret those beautiful house music classics to the audiences of today, but also the fans of, you know, where it all began. So
like what are some of those classic tracks?
So just to sort of pick a few that you'll probably know, like CC Rogers' Someday. I'm getting goosebumps saying it because I can feel like, it's just insane.
So you sang those tracks?
So I don't sing that one because obviously it's a male vocal, but we've got choir and solo singers, and I'm one of the solo singers. So I take front stage for, I think it's about 7 or 8 songs throughout the set. One of my personal favourites is Pennies from Heaven, Inner City. Which is one of Inner City's kind of, it's a really early one. It's just beautiful though.
Pennies from Heaven, right?
Some more sort of well-known ones would be like Free by Ultranate, Where Love Lives, Alison Limerick. And then, you know, they sort of, they do some acid house as well. That's a bit more.
Oh, cool.
If you weren't sort of there in the day, like Voodoo Ray and kind of ching ching. To drop that one in there, but yeah. So it's a really eclectic set. Actually, it covers that kind of spectrum of sort of the dark corner of the club, raving it up to an instrumental, and then like the full vocal moment where everybody's like in a state of
the classics but with an orchestra, that must have been so rad.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like again, it was another sort of dream. I didn't really know that I wanted so much until it happened. You know how you manifest things. I think we talked about this before when we met, and I really sort of, a lot of those songs were the ones that got me into house music that I would sing in my bedroom, just as a kid, really, kind of just like, where does this music come from? Like, I can't wait to go to a club and experience this kind of thing. And then I'm singing with the orchestra these songs.
Dude, that is like,
it's
fucking insane. Because like for us, it's like Paradise Garage, and like Frankie Knuckles, like those, like, the people in Chicago, like the Warehouse in Chicago, and Paradise Garage in New York, and like those were our, like, that's like when I first discovered, like I through books, I read books about this, like this time period, and David Mancuso and like what they were building out here, and like you guys had with Hacienda and stuff. Man, like to be part of, to get to just like live that night after night. And I mean, because that's how I discovered house music, and I became obsessed with like the culture and like what were these places like, a lot of these like houses that they turned into like sort of speakeasy clubs, and like that's where they shared this music, and it was all about the dance floor, and like, oh, how cool to just get to have lived that.
I know, yeah, it really is. It's like it those goosebump moments. It's for real. Like, I people say, "Oh, are you nervous?" Like, because we've done some, big crowds, like sort of 10,000s and bigger. Like,
you played Glastonbury, yeah.
And you're sort of standing there backstage, kind of waiting to go, and all you can feel is the insane energy, like the crowd wanting to be in the moment so much, and us wanting to share that with them. It's it's a really unique, special thing. Like,
so beautiful.
It really is, yeah.
So I'm really into Monkey. Am I pronouncing your name right? Monki?
This is the collaboration with Monkey.
Yeah, is that Monkey? Is that Monkey?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just making sure that looks like it, but I'm like, am I saying this wrong? How did that collaboration come to be? I've been following her for a while, and I think that she is just so cool.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's funny because this is a killer song and track, and everything about it I absolutely love. But I don't actually have a relationship with Monkey. Like, it's one of the very few collaborations I've had that's been remote, like really remote, although we live in the same country. It was one of those, and you know how I work, like, because we work together, and I was like, I really love to kind of chat to people and build up this, vibe.
Totally. That's why I assumed, knowing you, I assumed like there must have been like some sort of backstory to this.
Yeah, I'm afraid there isn't an actual backstory on us as artists kind of getting together in a room and vibing out. But there's definitely...
So were you just sent the track or something and you wrote something
to
it?
The label Tool Room, who I work really closely with, they were really closely A&R in this one. So, kind of really pulling it together to where they could foresee this kind of, whole thing, what it should become. So, it was kind of beautifully done by the guys, actually, like, right, we've got Monkey, we've got these sounds, we need this kind of, euphoric soulfulness in there, which is where I came in, and I was like,
it's definitely where I'd give you a ring.
So
soulful euphoria.
I think we all worked quite passionately on our parts to it, so you can kind of hear that coming through in the music. So it's not sort of remote and soulless. It's
totally. It's awesome.
Yeah, I love that record. I do.
I love that record. I like both of you two individually as artists, and it's like, so I was just like, please let this be great, and it's great. So I love it. So I've recently had the privilege of working with you at the Defected Studios in London, and you are so tapped in and tuned in and fearless. Tell us your origin story. How did you become the artist you are today?
Oh, wow. Well, thank you. Massive thank you to you. And I would say, how did I become the artist I am today? Well, it wasn't a path that I kind of set out to do a specific thing on. It was, I would say I've been kind of soul searching from the early days of being a singer, sort of raw kind of musician. I tried all different instruments as a kid. I obviously had a voice, but I didn't know where I should take it. The influence at my school seemed to be more classical, which left me completely lost. So I absorbed all the influences around me and became really immersed in the house music scene. Started out as a clubber, went on to become a DJ, and along the way, kind of all these things that had been with me from a child started to come back into the game. Like I'd be mixing and then somebody would say, "Oh, you can sing," and you'd be like, "Yeah, okay." So I slowly sort of fumbled my way through how to piece it all together, and it was really natural and organic, to be honest with you. And as these things go, I guess talent gets you in sort of certain spaces along the way, and people pick up on it and come into the frame and want to show this thing to somebody else, and before you know it, you're in the studio with so and so, and you're in front of this A&R guy at this label, and everything starts to come together if you're lucky.
Lucky and talented.
Yeah.
So you are a mother as well as a singer and songwriter and producer and DJ, and I want to highlight this because also when we were in the studio together, your baby was right there strapped to you as you did your thing, and seeing that pumped me up so much. How has motherhood affected your art, and how has your art affected your motherhood?
Well, I would say it's elevated, amplified. Really, though, they are the things, like amplified everything that I was already really passionate about. Now it's kind of everything's just gone next level, and I feel like there is no ceiling. Like she has just, yeah, like, I mean, there wasn't really anyway, but I guess you get here and there throughout your career path, you might get a little bit like, okay, let's be realistic about this, those kind of dreams and all the rest of it. But no, like now I actually realize that so many things have happened in my life that I might have had question marks about or doubts about them working out. Being a mother and combining it with this career is something I didn't know was possible, and now I see it completely is, and I want to sort of just do my thing and also encourage other people, other women in our world, to realize that it is doable. And I think more and more people will start to support us in champion this as well, whereas way back when it was kind of a little bit of a taboo, like, really, can we do this in so many ways? But
I truly can't tell you what it does for me. Like, it, I have so much fear around that, and seeing you just like continue to do your thing and stronger and more confident, and with this beautiful baby daughter, I needed to see it. I needed to see it in person, and I'm just so grateful for that. And that's why I wanted to take a moment to highlight that. And the fact that you feel more empowered and more, sky's the limit is so cool.
Yeah. Again, it makes me feel like crazy tingles inside when that sort of excitement. It's almost like the kind of the brand new freshness of it all is back in my system. It never really sort of left, but it does get quite diluted along the way, doesn't it?
Yes. Oh, 1,000%. How cool to have that reinvigorated through new life, literally.
Yeah.
So today's extra special because my remix for your track with David Morales comes out today. And I love that track. The second I heard your vocals on it, I knew I had to work on it.
Amazing.
How did you and Legend Morales link up?
So we hooked up through my manager, Hess, who, George Hess, goes way back to the days of the beginnings of house. Again, he was involved in all of those artists along the way, in some capacity, and he, I'd say he's good friends with David. Obviously he knew what David's working on, he knew what I was working on, and there were some things that on my side were just sort of left as sketches in my computer, but really special stuff, you know, like even the sketches just, you know, they had a thing about them. So he did that beautiful thing of sending some of those to David, and David came back and he was like, whoa, what's that one? And I was like, well, yeah, you want to work on it? Of course. I am, you know, absolutely buzzing to hear what we can do here. So we built up a rapport anyway, you know, we started talking, we had a real good connection. You know, when it's just instant, it's not like one of those, oh, we need to kind of figure out where we are as artists now. It was like instant, right? We've got a vibe. Yeah, this is cool. And we were both.
You could hear that in the track. It just is so effortless.
Yeah. It was really exciting actually working on it, and he was sending me stuff back and forth, and I can remember like having the baby in my arms and listening to what he'd done, and just I think I did cry. There were tears because it was just so beautiful. He took everything that I'd got in the sketch and just did, you know, his thing, and it was just beautiful.
Yeah.
So
it's just like it was really nice to listen to the track because I mean, you know, he is a legend and your voice is classic. And it just reminded me, like, sometimes I think now when I'm making music, it's like, you know, adding more effects and builds and snare builds and, you know, swooshes. And it's like, there's just like a classicness to it where I could listen to this anywhere, you know, at any time. And it just like, it kind of has influenced my latest tracks I've done since. So thank you for that.
Nice one. Thank you. Yeah. And your remix, of course, is beautiful. And we're looking forward to that one dropping. It's really nice to have you in the mix on it.
I appreciate that. Well, thank you for being a guest on Femme House Radio. I adore you as a person. You inspire me so much beyond music even. So thank you for being here, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, my love. Big love to you all.
This is LP Giobbi.
Listen up, children.
You are listening to Femme House Radio.
I said listen up, children.
On Diplo's Revolution, Sirius XM.
A wonderful night is made as much by the dancers as the music guided as much by the spirit of joy in the room as by the hand which reaches for the next record. Each of us has a role in tonight's experience. We all play in the band. I said we all play in the band.
This is LP Giobbi, and I founded Femme House, a 501c3 foundation and educational platform that teaches the technical areas of music making for women, non-binary, trans, and other marginalized gender identities. Every week, I will be interviewing and spotlighting women in music while bringing you the best dance tunes from around the world.